On the one side, we serve mainly the aftermarket sector, but on the other side, due to our capabilities, R&D, we are helping the new thinkers or the new engineers that are developing the new braking systems, and that gives us valuable information to understand what's going to come.
Welcome to Coffee Break, the official podcast of the Brake Report. Here we dive deep into the world of brake technology, bringing you exclusive interviews with industry leaders and insights into the companies shaping our future. Let's get started. To kick things off today, do you all, maybe both of you, mind sharing just a little bit about your background and your role at Frenkit?
After you, Andy.
I have been in this business, hard to believe, 30 years. Started as a mechanic in the 90s, moved to the supplier side in the late 90s, worked around brakes on and off through different companies. Met Frenkit in 2022 for the first time. We had the fortunate chance to join them in January of 2024 and have been working with them ever since here in North America.
Great. What about you, Andrés?
Well, after Andy, I can only say I'm new to this sector. It's been now 7 years. I started in Frenkit in 2019, together with my business partner, Ignacio. Almost like a coincidence that we are here in this sector. We exited our jobs after the MBA that we did together, and we looked for an SME in Spain to run and to acquire. Out of the 10,000 different small SMEs that we looked at, there was only 2 or 3 in the aftermarket sector, and Frenkit was one of them. The final acquisition that we made. So it's almost a coincidence that we are in this sector.
No, that's great. So I guess, for those listening who may not necessarily be familiar with Frenkit, can you share maybe a little bit about the history of the company and I guess maybe how it's evolved over the last, 50 plus years?
Well, Frenkit was founded by Javier. Javier was the founder and the previous owner of the company. He had a technical background. All his life, he had been related to the hardware brake business, and he was willing to retire without any succession plan because his 2 daughters and were not willing to continue in the company or to take over the company. So that was the perfect match for Ignacio and me. Frenkit started giving service to many different companies in Europe. So they started exporting from the very beginning, and today, well, we took over in 2019. Today, we serve in 70 different countries worldwide. We have many different product lines that maybe we can talk about later. And we are, in an expansion phase right now.
Got it. Yeah. And speaking, I guess, of like acquisitions, we spoke about making the Frenkit acquisition, but you also, in 2023, I believe you all also acquired Sensa, if I pronounce that right. So it seems like that would be, kind of a game changer for, obviously getting more exposure and expanding your presence in the market. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
I can give you broad overview, and maybe Andy, you can jump into maybe more details or the impact in the US. So Sensa was also a family business in the northern region of Spain, where Frenkit is based. So we knew each other very well. They were fierce competitors, and we had both companies, a strong presence in Europe. They were attacking at the same time different other markets worldwide. And it's hard to believe, but they had also some problems in the succession plan in the family. So the company from 2019 onwards to 2023 had some strong financial problems. So in 2023, we had the chance basically to buy the company, to acquire the company, and to do a turnaround, basically. It was difficult because the company was in a very bad shape, not as Frenkit when we entered, but after 2 long years, now we're really happy with having the both companies in the group.
Yeah, and I think for Frenkit, there's the Sensa acquisition expanded not only their distribution footprint. There was some existing business in North America they've been able to build on with some of the key players for caliper remanufacturing. But it also gave them the feather in their cap as now being a base manufacturer for rubber components. So it's a real distinction, I think, in this particular space where there's a lot of traders, so to speak, that are relying on other suppliers to bring their programs to market, whereas Frenkit Sensa is a true manufacturer when the rubber componentry is considered.
You all have thousands and thousands of parts or components in your catalog. Out of all that, I mean, obviously, you all have all high quality parts, but out of all those components that you all offer to your customers, are there any in particular that maybe stand out or you want to highlight, or maybe that you can show, solves real world problems for mechanics and customers out there?
Yeah, from my perspective, the super kits have been a game changer for Frenkit because of the overall solution it provides to the alternative of replacing a caliper. You can actually have all the components you need to rebuild a caliper, whether you're a DIY or DIFM client. That in particular has made strong inroads, not just in Europe, but also with certain North American customers. And building on that, Frenkit has expanded, into electronic parking brake kits, which is, a very fast-growing segment for aftermarket replacements, since there's so many vehicles now coming with EPs or electronic parking brakes as original equipment. But building on the Sensa acquisition, they've also been able to leverage that rubber manufacturing and expand into new product segments or outside of just pass cars, including performance as well as motorcycle caliper repair kits. So while the portfolio is vast, I think Frenkit has done a great job of leveraging the strengths to develop specific segments that play to needs in the market, and it's going now beyond just automotive.
This episode is brought to you by Hagman Search. When it comes to finding top-tier talent for your executive team, Hagman Search is a name you can trust. Not simply a recruiting firm, it's your strategic partner. Go to hagmansearch.com to learn more. With the headquarters in Spain, serving Europe, obviously also, have customers in other regions, especially with all the part numbers you have. Can you walk me through how do you ensure high fill rates and, I guess, short lead times? Obviously with Amazon has conditioned us now to think you could have parts literally after you click a button or whatever. But, how do you all do that? How do you manage it with all the parts and, having a kind of a global supply base?
Brian, for us, it's a very good question because at least in Europe, when we entered in the company, there were some KPIs around service level that we were sure that we needed to improve. And that has been, our focus, or at least one of our focus in the operations over the past 4 years. And now it's incredible. So our European clients are used to be served in less than 3 days. We serve higher than 98% the fill rates. And we consider the fill rates in, the most exhaustive way to read it. So we have polished very, very well our operations for the European clients. And that is something that we would like to be able to do at some point in the other markets, mainly in the US. It's not something that we have today, but it's part of the DNA that we have in the company. And sooner or later, we will be able to do it.
Yeah, and just to add to that, and having been to the operations in Spain many times, there's a lot of capital invested in componentry so that we can assemble kits quickly, and maintain a high level of finished good inventory for those quick turnarounds and high fill rates. Definitely a balancing act when you're going back, to the supply chain that's global from your own plants to your other suppliers. But to Andrés' point, I've seen firsthand how they've worked hard, especially over the last couple of years, to streamline that operation to, effectively deploy working capital without compromising cash flow. We'd understand the same commitment will be required for deeper penetration in North America, and the company's committed to making those investments. So local inventory, local customer service support, beyond your commercial representation like myself and our current sales agent, we know all those are tantamount and expected when it comes to the client base in North America with quick turnaround times and high fill rate expectations.
We're in this transition of kind of the electric vehicle, autonomous vehicle era. Is that affecting, the brake hardware segment? I mean, are you all having to stay on top of that, or is it pretty much, the same type of components that you would use with, traditional ICE vehicles?
It's a change in the market that we're keenly aware of and staying on top of in terms of our OE research and product development. The move to brake-by-wire is, upon us. It's happening. Electric braking systems that are going to be harvesting more data from braking components than ever before means that we as suppliers need to ensure that our portfolio is ready to support that. In some instances, we've already started to invest deeper into having those capabilities. An example is our electronic parking brake kits. So we're not just bringing that to market as a solution, but we've actually brought in-house the research and development to ensure that in the testing that is critical for a safety component like that. So we can sell with confidence to our distributors, our customers, a product that they can put on their car and know will perform as good or if not better than the OEM. But yeah, the migration towards alternative propulsion vehicles, primarily EVs. I saw data just this week now that, US VIO is approaching 5%, and EVs make up the majority of that. But at the end of the day, our commitment to OEM research means that we are sourcing the OE products on these vehicles. So we are designing our parts back to those specifications and making sure that we're not compromising on just the look of the product, but it's the form and function as well.
Yeah, speaking of form and function too, obviously brake safety is non-negotiable. Can you, I guess, describe any maybe underappreciated, aspects that help from a hardware perspective that help prevent accidents? And I guess from, your average consumer or driver, are there any insights or anything you can do to maybe identify maybe subpar components that are on your brakes?
It's funny. We were talking about this earlier today because it's a great question. When it comes to brake components, so many can look like the replacement car can look like the OE, but looks can be deceiving. And there's a certain amount of engineering that goes into even down to the smallest pieces of hardware that's critical to brake function. And our advice would be really companies like Frenkit, we are specialists in this area. This is what we do. This is not just a line extension with hundreds of other brands or products in our stable, but we specialize in caliper and drum brake componentry. And we take a lot of pride in what we put to market. Yeah, it's a safety component, and our customers can have all the confidence that what they're selling is going to meet the needs of their end users and not compromise on safety.
Andrés, so from global trends perspective, there's a lot of talk and emphasis put on environmental and sustainability aspects of running a business. Are you all, as a company, are you all feeling the pressure on, moving toward more greener practices? Can you speak to that?
Well, we feel the pressure. I think Europe has now more pressure than some other countries regarding this topic. Well, I think we were also talking, Andy and me, around this topic. I think the first thing to understand is that Frenkit and now Seinsa, both companies were born, with this ecological approach or sustainable approach. Why? Because we are letting, a caliper have a second life, basically. The toughest and the most rigid part of the caliper would be the casting, and it's the most ecological, has the biggest impact in order to make that casting. And we do give a second life with the small components that we build. So for me, we are now in a couple of projects in Europe regarding the reman for the automotive sector. We passed all the testings just because of this. That's one thing. And this is one broad answer. Specifically, well, we have many different lines that we are covering, from solar panels, to reduce our energy. Seinsa, we have a closed water circuit in Seinsa as well. So we have plenty of different procedures, or excuse my English, it's not my mother tongue, but yeah, I think you understood my point.
Yeah, no, perfect. That's good. What about disruption, Andy? Do you see, I guess, predicting 5 to 10 years? Is there anything that you see that will disrupt the business down the road? And what are you guys doing to maybe help prepare for that?
Going back to the EV market, and regen braking is certainly going to have an impact on the wear and tear of your traditional friction systems. Components are being designed a little different than they were. The stopping power that even a hydraulic brake system was or was expected from it in the past, is different than it on newer vehicles, specifically with regenerative braking. So with that in mind, we are looking at line extension to ensure that our portfolio remains relevant to those servicing the brake system, whether it be with replacement parts for the newer application, the newer brake designs, or expanding into new markets like Frenkit Moto and offering caliper repair kits for motorcycles, or Frenkit Performance, where we're now offering proprietary rubber components in our caliper repair kits, targeting very high-end, high heat situations for your track enthusiasts, or even for motorsports and in that sector. So there's ways to try to mitigate it without becoming relevant to the space and the core business, but we're trying to do both as best we can.
And it's also important to know that we have, due to these capabilities, manufacturing capabilities and R&D, all the knowledge that we have in the group, we have been asked. Now we are working in 2 projects of the new braking system with a couple of European manufacturers. And that is, as I say, well ahead of what's going to have the car park 15 or 20 years. So on the one side, we serve mainly the aftermarket sector, but on the other side, due to our capabilities, R&D, and so on, we are helping the new thinkers or the new engineers that are developing the new braking systems. We give them, some support, manufacturing capabilities, mainly on rubber components, and that gives us some valuable information to understand what's going to come.
As you guys are expanding, you're growing, you're expanding into new markets, like such as the U.S. and other areas. What are some of the biggest challenges you guys have had to face, and I guess how are you addressing that?
I'd say one of the biggest tasks for Frenkit when targeting North America was tailoring the existing program to meet a different market's needs. Specifically, when you think about application coverage and componentry that's included in the products we sell, there's a different expectation, obviously, to address the car park on the road in North America, but also what comes in the box versus what Frenkit is selling in different parts of the world. Fortunately, we have the technical resources internally in terms of our technical team, our product engineers that are on site. Again, because this is what we do, they were able to quickly address these challenges so that our program offering for North America could be tailored appropriately. And we're at a point now where we can confidently quote a program to potential clients here that we know will meet not only the application expectations, but also the componentry expectations. So it took us some time to do that, but it wasn't foreign ground for Frenkit. We've reacted quickly, and we're very happy with the results so far.
So what's on the horizon for you guys? Are there any new products, new partnerships, anything like that you guys can or want to talk about at this point?
Maybe I'll just finish up with a little bit on North America and let Andrés kind of bring it home from the global perspective. Entering a new market means also that, there's additional relationships you have to form. So, one thing we did was we joined FMSI and we indexed all of our components to the information in the database that FMSI has maintained for so many years. We've also made investments in additional VIO data so we can ensure that not only our current, but our future research is directed appropriately by what is not only on the road today, but what is coming into the sweet spot of the product life cycle going forward. So in that perspective, I think we've got a lot of work still to do, but we're building on a very strong foundation, not only in the company's history, but in what we've done in a short amount of time to get up to speed for North America.
Yeah, and from the global perspective, the horizon is full of work. We have many things coming, some that we can share with you today happily. So one, I think it was previously stated, was the motorcycle segment, which is running very, very well. And the same with the performance one. The performance it's also, funny that our first client is a US-based client for that segment. So even though we are a European-based company, we have our eyes many other places.
Well, that's great. Well, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure, chatting with you guys today. I really appreciate your time, and hopefully we can do this again sometime.
I look forward to it. Thank you, Brian. We appreciate the opportunity and the partnership with Brake Report.
Thank you, Brian.
This is Brian Hagman, host of Coffee Break. I want to give a big thank you to today's guest and to all of you for tuning in. Until next time, let's keep breaking stuff.